I'm about to go back down the rabbit hole for musical clefs. The clef symbols used most frequently in modern music notation are the treble clef and the bass clef. But how do we convert our treble clef and bass clef notes to what they need to be in the tenor clef? To explore this idea, I wrote a variation of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star using more of the staff. Then I wrote it in many different ranges and explored what these ranges would look like in different clefs. As a pianist, I find treble clef 100% natural. For me, it is automatic, and I never have to think about where anything is. But I did not learn tenor clef until I was around 19 years old. So the moment I see any note in the tenor clef, I immediately associate it with the treble clef, and that means I have to translate each note. I use treble clef for a conversion because to me it looks very close to tenor clef. So I simply read tenor clef just like I read treble clef. But when I do, each note is one letter name too high. Therefore, I mentally lower each note by one letter. This conversion actually demands a second step. The first step is one octave too high, so the second step is to lower down the result an octave. These two steps happen lightning fast for me and get me the answers very quickly. This is the only way I have ever been able to read tenor clef. How I do this has not changed in 5.5 decades. As complicated as it might seem, cello music is written in 3 clefs. Treble clef is used for the high notes. Bass clef is used for the low notes. But the mid-range is always written in tenor clef. For a long time I did not understand why. Why complicate everything with 3 different clefs? Now the reason is very clear to me. Those 3 clefs were used long ago when composers still wrote scores by hand. Various C clefs were invented to minimize the writing of ledger lines. In modern notation programs, ledger lines are no longer a problem. But when you are writing by hand, they take a long time to notate, and they are very hard to line up and space properly. Look how nice my Twinkle Twinkle Little Star arrangement looks in treble clef. It is absolutely perfect. And in this range, this is what you want to see in a cello part. Now look how nice my little tune looks like in bass clef. It is still almost as perfect, with only one ledger line. In this range, this is what you would like to see in a cello part. But if we transpose my tune down an octave to treble clef, all of a sudden there are a lot of ledger lines in a cello part. We are now in mid-range. If we stay in that mid-range but change to bass clef, we also have a lot of ledger lines. However, by putting this mid-range into tenor clef, we have far fewer ledger lines. So if you are writing music by hand the way composers once did, the tenor clef is obviously the best solution for this middle range. And that is why it is used for the cello. I still don't like tenor clef. It slows me down. But I clearly see the reason the C clef was used by composers in the past to save time in writing out scores. So hopefully, after going down this rabbit hole with me, you now understand how old composers came to use the tenor clef and why it saved them a ton of time when writing music. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Leave me comments about anything you like, comments about anything you would like to see in the future, and remember that I consider all suggestions.